Well, hello folks, and welcome back to the Whisky Friend with me, Alan. Today I'd like to do something a little bit different. I'm not going to be reviewing a whisky. I'm going to be talking about my whisky journey, how I got into it, share a few of my bottles from my collection, and see where we go. I think my journey's been slightly different from most whisky folk, as I was never a whisky drinker. I stumbled on it really quite by accident, and I'm going to share what happened there. But I'm going to have a dram with you, and today it's going to be a Lagavulin 8, as I have a review of this coming up shortly. So I'm just in the aid of research. I'm just getting to know this whisky again. So without any further ado, I'll crack on. Whisky. I was never a whisky drinker. I stumbled on it purely by accident. I was driving to work one day and there was an article on the radio telling you about the banking crisis and nobody was making any money in the banks, and I was one of those. I had some money lying around, wondering what I would do with it, and this article stated that gold was doing fantastic things. And then someone came on and said that whisky was actually outstripping gold in a financial term. So I started listening. Straight after that review, someone stated that if the whisky didn't make any money, at least you could drink the bottle. So I immediately went out and bought a bottle of Talisker 25, and that was my first bottle that I bought, and it was with the mind of investing. So I kept doing that. I kept researching bottles, I kept researching whisky, what was going to make money, what wasn't, and before I knew it, I was 2 years in and I had more bottles than I knew what to do with. Purely as a financial gain, that's where I was looking at. Done a few dabblings in auctions, sold a few in auction, flipped a few bottles. I was purposely looking for bottles that were going to make money. Don't hold it against me. I've changed since then. I kept getting bottles for Christmas, Talisker 10s, your usual Glenfiddich 12s, your Glenlivet 12s. I was getting all of those. I started sampling them, found it was quite interesting, and then where my journey turned, I went up to Glasgow. I'd bought a bottle at auction, and on one of my journeys to Glasgow, I thought I'd nip in and pick it up. It happened to be, I'll just share it with you, the Glendronach Revival. So I met up with some friends, went out on the night in Glasgow, had a great time, came back to my mate's flat, and this was lying around. Guess what? We cracked it open. We sat up to 6, 7 o'clock in the morning drinking this, and that's where it turned for me. That's where it all changed, and I've never looked back since. So I started trying some nice whiskies, buying nice whiskies, still collecting, and I'm sure everyone watching will have a collection. There's possibly some bottles in there where you think, what I've paid for it, maybe you've paid too much for it, is it going to live up to the money? I'm no different. I still have a few like that, which I'll share with you today. But this is the one that changed it for me. I've now moved on. My favourite one at the minute is the 18 Allardyce, which I have about a dozen bottles of that. Can't stop buying it. So as collecting goes, I made a few quid, but now it's different for me. I'm looking to try as much as I can, drink as much as I can, within moderation, folks, responsible drinker and all that. So yeah, and that's where it all kind of changed for me, and I still do a little bit. So I'm going to show you a few bottles from my collection, talk a little bit about them, and decide whether I'm going to open them or whether I'm going to drink them or whether I'm going to keep them. So without further ado, the next one I'm going to show you is the Longmorn 15. This is one that I bought probably a couple of years ago at auction. Paid about £150 for it. Is it worth £150? Not sure. I've never actually tasted this bottle, so I don't know what's in it, but I'm in two minds whether I should crack it open and just forsake the £150, or should I keep it and see where it goes in 3 or 4 years, and could I make any money from it? Big decision. Okay, the next one I'm going to show you is this one, Longmorn 16. I keep hearing rave reviews about it. Everyone tells me what a fantastic whiskey it is. I've had a couple of bottles in the past. I've flipped it. I've sold a few of them, and now this is getting to the stage where it's definitely a decision to make whether it should get opened or whether it should be kept. I don't know, some of the guys, if you want to comment, tell me what you think. Is it a great drinking whiskey, or should I keep it? I'll check it out. Actually, Roy Aquaviti's sending me a little sample down to try it, so I think I might wait then, and that's when I'll make my decision whether it's going to get opened or whether it's going to get tucked away for a rainy day. So moving on, this is a real interesting one. Macallan Editions series. This is the number 1 edition. This whiskey has gone absolutely nuts. I paid £79 for it when it came out. Sold it for £190 about 6 months later. Hence, I've bought it again. Won't tell you what I paid for it now, this time. But looking at auction last month, this was hovering around about the £700 to £800 a bottle. I actually think with probably early next year, this will probably be going for about £1,000. Now, £1,000 is a lot of money. This bottle will never live up to £1,000 bottle of whiskey. So this is a bottle I know that I probably won't ever open, unless something really spectacular happens and I want to use it is for something like that, maybe a wedding or something. But this bottle will never get opened unless that happens. As I've been collecting, as you can probably see in the background, I've got the 2, 3 and 4. As a group, they're now running probably about £1,300–1,400 at auction, which is absolutely crazy. But that's just the way whiskey's going. Please comment, tell me a little bit about your collections, what you think, what's in it. Have you got bottles that you're scared to open because of the money value? But as I say, let me have a little sip in my Lagavulin. Beautiful. So, I hope you found it interesting, folks. Hope to share some more of my bottles in the future. Got a couple of nice reviews planned for coming up shortly over the next couple of weeks. If you like, please give me a thumbs up. Please share the video. And if you really like what I'm doing, please click that little bell and subscribe. So it's been fantastic today, and thanks for watching. See you next time.